Ladies and gentlemen, this is Zach Moonshine with Metal Devastation Radio, and right now on the phone with me I have the guys from the band Apostle of Solitude. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
So, for everybody out there, what's going on right now in the world of Apostle of Solitude?
Let's see, we got the new record coming out on the 31st of this month. Officially, it comes out 31st in Europe and the 4th in North America. And then we just released a new video for This Mania for the new record. And then we've got some couple shows coming up with the Skull, former Trouble guys.
Yeah.
And then from there we'll see what comes, man. We're hoping to maybe get over to Europe in the spring if it's financially feasible because of air flight and all that kind of stuff. But that's the plan, man. Release the record and start playing some shows.
It's badass, man. We had the guys from the Skull on the show a little while ago too.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
Nice guys.
Yeah, nice guys.
So, how long have you guys been jamming, and how exactly did this band get started?
I think I first hooked up with Chuck, another guy, Brent McClellan, in was it 2004, I think. Chuck was still playing in the Keep at that time, or the Gates of Slumber. So I think Apostle kind of spun out of the Keep previous band that Chuck
The Gates.
played in. Gates, sorry.
Yeah, the Gates of Slumber, yeah.
So about 14 years now. I don't think we played live in 2005 sometime.
About 10 years.
Yeah, so a couple albums since then.
Yeah, Corey's math's a little about 10 years, yeah. It's around 2004, something like that, after I was playing in the Gates, and then Corey and I first hooked up, and then I don't know. I don't remember how we hooked up, to be truthful. I don't know if it was an ad or what it was, but I mean, I had seen Corey around at shows and vice versa and stuff, so we were familiar with each other's faces and things like that. So,
Well, everything I've heard on this record so far sounds fucking amazing, man. It's really good.
oh, thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
We're psyched that people are digging it as much as as we personally like it. We think it's our best material, and it's the best we've ever played, and best songs we've written, and I know everybody feels that way about a new record, but we genuinely feel that way. So if other people are getting that same vibe, that's awesome. That feels good.
Hell yeah, man. So the band name itself, Apostle of Solitude, how did you guys come up with that? Is there a story behind it?
It's not a deep story, man. It's just kind of one of those things, where I was in between kind of bands or something, and I was still writing songs, so not to get all corny about it, but you're alone, you're solitude, and an apostle in the sense of spreading the word, you know what I mean, writing music and it's kind of spreading the word. So it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, that'd be great, if you had a band, Apostle of Solitude. But of course, it's not just me that writes everything now, you know what I mean? So it started that way, because I was by myself writing stuff. But then obviously when you get in a band situation, things change. But I mean, that's the origins of the name, though, is just kind of one dude spreading the word kind of thing. But it grew into much more than that.
Right on. As far as like the lyrical themes, what can you tell us about that?
For the most part, real world things. We don't really write about a lot of fantasy type stuff per se. It's more everything from addiction to loss, depression, and just real world things that everybody goes through. Guilt, yeah. Misery, yeah, sure. Regret, yeah. Steve's chiming in, but he's a little far away. but he's spot on, though. It's all those real world things that everybody goes through. So it comes from most of the lyrics are pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? Just it come from a real world perspective, not a lot of fantasy type of fiction type stuff, which is that's all good. That's not how we approach it.
Very cool, man. As far as like your influences, what would you say influences you guys?
I'll tell you what. I'll let everybody give a couple influences. Most of them, we all have the bass lines, the Sabbath and the Priest and the Maiden and Vitus, and all those kind of things. But I think everybody's listens to a lot of different stuff. About you, Dan?
Well, I guess my favorite all-time band's Metallica and always will be, so there's that. Then I also listen to a lot of weird stuff. I got like My Bloody Valentine's one of my favorite bands, and like Devin Townsend, stuff like that, and just off-the-wall stuff.
Not you, Corey?
I don't know, man. The usual suspects. Honestly, for me, I think a lot of old blues music and early rock and roll music from the 50s. Just kind of that whole attitude influences me a little bit.
How about you, Steve?
Pretty much influenced by everything I listened to growing up. So there was discovery phases and, getting into the heavy stuff later on in high school and kind of going from there.
Anybody specifically?
Specifically, I don't know, man. I mean,
Beatles, right?
Well, yeah, of course, obviously Beatles. I'm thinking more along the lines of, Trouble and, bands like Ordru and doing stuff like that. Influence kind of the way I think about what we're doing in this band, basically.
Yes, I think it's suffice to say that we've all got like a baseline of the heavy stuff that influences most guys in metal, and then from there, man, everybody's got their own individual stuff that they grew up on that kind of, steered them in, into the way they write and play now.
Really cool, man. Well, you guys definitely blend it all together really cool, too.
Oh, thanks, man. That's cool that I think that I'm glad that people pick up, not necessarily on specific influences, but recognize that we try to stay in a particular vein of heavy stuff, but at the same time we try to put some of those other influences in there and vary it up, not only for the listener but for us. So it's cool when people pick up on that there's a little variation from song to song.
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing that I really like about this record is all the different different dimensions and what's the word? It definitely, there's a lot of different sounds going on. It's one of those records that you can listen to this from front to back and your ear doesn't get tired of it.
Right. That's cool, man. That's good to hear, man, because that's from a personal perspective. I like that. Again, there's nothing wrong with a band that gives you straight up the same thing front to back. You know what I mean? If that's what you're looking for, but there's also nothing wrong with having a record that, like you said, there's no ear fatigue necessarily because every song's a little bit different. Whether it's tempo or tuning or vibe or whatever. So, I'm glad that there are people that pick up on that and that people that dig that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in this day and age, there's a lot of bands that they'll focus on like a certain few songs, but a lot of it sounds very similar, but it's
right.
Like they're aiming towards the people that are just going to download a couple of songs and that's it anyway. But
sure,
it's really cool hearing records like this where it's made like an album to actually listen to from front to back, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's great, man. Because again, that's the way it was. I mean, there obviously each song was written individually, but I mean it was written with kind of the album concept in mind. You know what I mean? That it all fit together, yet each song was a little different. You know what I mean? So there was that thought, kind of as we were writing it. Does this song still fit with the mood that we're in at the moment, and things like that. Yeah,
the album artwork is really, really cool, too. How did you guys come up with that?
That's our buddy David Sicily. He plays in the Flight of Sleipnir out of Colorado. We did a split with those guys and another band called Rituals of the Oak from Australia. I don't know, 3 years ago, something like that. So he's a friend of ours, great artist. He did the cover artwork for our new Mournful Congregation album as well this year. Great guy.
Sweet. Now, as far where are you guys from? What's your local scene like there?
Steve?
We're based out of Indianapolis, and scene's just like any average scene. There's some good bands, some great bands, some pretty okay bands. There's a lot of cool bands that we have had the privilege of playing with, and there's some bands that have gone to do some pretty great things. So, I don't know, it's home. You know,
Yeah, there's some really Indy's got a decent scene. It's not a huge scene, but Coffin Worm. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but Coffin Worm.
Yeah.
Who are on Profound Lore, or at least they put out a release on Profound Lore. Obviously, the Gates, Apostle. You got John Cougar. Yeah, he fits right there with everything. Henry Lee Summer. I don't know if you remember that blip on the radar.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's from Gary, Indiana, just up the road. We got them all, man. We cover all the bases.
Well, what's some of like the craziest shit that you've seen there in your local area?
You mean as far as bands or musically?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if there really is any craziness, man. I can't really think of anything. I mean, well, yeah. Justin, who used to be an Apostle, a guitar player in Apostle, he has a band called Giraffes Eating Lions, and their singer's known for getting down to his underwear and acting a fool. So, if that counts, but I think every scene's probably got bands like that do outrageous shit. So I don't know that it's actually all that outrageous, because every scene's probably got that band that you don't know what they're going to do. So we have a couple of those.
Right on, man. Well, for people out there that want to check out the band, buy CDs and T-shirts and shit, where can they go?
Well, we have some links on our website. As soon as we have the records and it's time, they'll be available on our website at apostlesolitude.com. Always you can go to the cruisedelsurmusic.com website, and order from there. There's some other distribution channels. We've got some new merch coming soon, so look for that. And also, check out the video. You can get to it via our Facebook page right now, and eventually take over the world, that kind of thing.
So you guys are pretty active on Facebook too?
Yeah, I mean, we all have access to the Apostle page. So I mean, at any given time, it could be any one of us either posting something or answering a question or whatever. But yeah, we keep track of it, and or at least to the best our abilities. You know what I mean? We're pretty active on it, though, posting, like I said, new videos or reviews or interviews like this, and show information and stuff like that. So if there's anything new going on with the band, it's gonna be up there on the Facebook page along with the website and stuff like that. So if you're interested in merch or shows or, like I said, reviews or interviews or anything like that, you either go to the .com website or Facebook or something like that, and you can keep up with, if you're so inclined, you can keep up with anything we're doing.
Right on, man. Well, moving forward, what kind of plans do you guys have right now for the future?
Like I said before, we're gonna play these few shows with the Skull. I think we've got one in Cleveland and maybe a possible Chicago and Wisconsin one. We're just waiting to hear back from them. And then we've got our record release show here in Indy, Saturday, December 6th at the Melody Inn, which obviously will have all, a bunch of new merch then, so if you're around this area, come check that out. If not, like I said, Cleveland, Chicago, Wisconsin. And then hopefully, man, like I said before, in the spring, man, if we get a couple offers and it's financially feasible to not go in the hole, we would love to go over to Europe and play a couple fests and then, book a couple weeks of just regular club shows around that. That would be really great because, I'm sure as much as anybody that a lot of the metal and especially the subgenres do considerably better over in Europe. The reception's better, the turnouts are better and things like that. So to get over there and and be able to play shows and you know, connect with people over there, that would be really rad. So that's a goal that we're aiming towards. But if that doesn't happen for some reason, then we'll go out for a week or two here in the U.S. You know, just, you know, we'll do whatever opportunities come to us.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, I guess I'm about out of questions for you guys. Is there anything else that you want to add to let the people out there know?
No, man, just if you dig the band, just please come out to shows. You know, obviously, if you're financially capable of buying stuff, that's awesome because it helps the band out. Obviously, nobody's getting rich on this stuff. It just goes back into making records and making merch and paying for gas and things like that. You know, you can't really get rich playing music these days. So that's not even a goal necessarily. It's just to get out and, you know, play for people and make records and stuff like that. So, you know, go check out the video and come out to shows, man. And even if you don't dig us, you know, and you dig other bands that are like us, man, do the same thing, you know, because guys and girls that do this kind of stuff, man, they're doing it for the love of music. So I know we, you know, really appreciate people coming out to shows and spending money and things like that. And I know a lot of the other bands that are in our same, you know, realm of music really appreciate people too, and don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? That people's attention is really divided anymore with all, you know, all the social media and TV and shit like that. So, you know, when you give us your time and your money, we we really appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, before I let you guys go, I got to get you to make a station tag. Cool?
Yeah, sounds great. We'll let Steve do that one because Corey did an interview and he did one. So we're going to spread the love and let Steve do the station ID. How's that?
All right.
All right, here you go, Steve.
Whenever you're ready, just say your name, say you're from Apostle of Solitude, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio, where metal reigns supreme.
Hey, this is Steve Janiak from Apostle of Solitude, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio, where metal reigns supreme. Did I get that right?
Fuck yeah, dude. Awesome.